Okay, another night of experimentation. Yeah, I'm doing something a little different with the lighting this time. Turn down the overhead, making it more spotlighty, and therefore, hopefully, more interesting on a lighting level. We'll see. We'll see how the final product comes out. So, a couple of things. First off, I didn't go to the LARP this weekend, and that kind of bugs me. There was a LARP, the Eclipse LARP, in Atlanta this past weekend. And I didn't get to go, because work, mainly. And it bugs me that that's become sort of my default thing. I used to go to LARPs a lot, and now I am going to them less and less. Part of that is, of course, the work stuff and the money stuff. Money is not free-flowing right now, which, that's not awesome. And, the work schedule stuff, new job, it's hard to get your schedule so that you can get off for the times of the LARP. But even before that, there was this sort of sense that the physicality of it hasn't been working for me in a while. And that's on me, to a certain extent. I'm getting older, I'm fat, I haven't been keeping up with my exercise, and I've allowed myself to slow down, and that is a problem. That's something I need to work on. I need to put a plan in place to get up to a physical point where I can enjoy the physical elements of LARPing again. I used to love, we do the boffer LARPs, I think in England they may just call them contact or action LARPs or whatever they call them in Europe or what have you. But the ones involving padded weapons. I've been doing that for almost 20 years, something like that. I started out in the parlor LARPs and been doing that for a long time. And that, that's my heroine, I guess. I enjoy doing boffer LARPs for the immediacy of it. There's never, there's very rarely a point where you have to stop and drop out of the action of what's going on to explain the action of what's going on. Most of the time it happens in real time. If I hit somebody with a boffer weapon, they know I hit them. I usually say something when I'm hitting them so they know how much damage they need to take. They have their own defenses. They call them. There's no stop and go, all right, we're going to do some sort of abstracted test to find out if I hit you or not. I hit them or I didn't. It's that simple. Same with the magic in most of the games. You say your spell, you throw it, and it's an immediate reaction. A friend of mine once said that the worst part about dealing with the World of Darkness LARP is from across the room she couldn't tell the difference between talking smack or popping a cap in someone. You don't really have that problem at most of the sort of action boffer LARP type things. It's much more immediate, and therefore the drama can flow a little more evenly without the dropping out of character to explain what's going on. Most of the time. There are exceptions. Hear me out on that. And I always enjoyed the combat. Even when I was losing, I enjoyed the experience of it. I think it is an amazing thing to do. It's a challenge. It's physical. You feel like you're accomplishing something. It's hard to explain. And there are different kinds. I loved the boffer archery. because it was a different sort of feel. Whereas using the offer weapons, you swing them and, tap, 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 pop somebody and go for another strike and then catch the blow from the guy who's coming at you from the side. And it's much more active and is energetic, and you want to get sort of worked up to get it right. Whereas archery, I don't know, it's peaceful, I guess, is if you're doing it right, you're probably calm. You're taking a deep breath, you're releasing the arrow, you're drawing the next arrow, you're moving to the next target. Pop, pop. It's a calm sort of activity. It's not the same sort of frantic action that happens in the sort of more melee combat. But I like, but all of that. I like the spellcasting. It's fun. Yes, it looks silly when somebody films it. I will admit this. It looks really silly watching somebody throw the packets, but it's fun, and it's something that you can be skilled at. Being able to remember all your spells and how to cast them, because they often have verbals and which spell combinations work, and there's a skill involved, and I liked all of those skills, and I wasn't the greatest fighter in the world, or the greatest archer, or the greatest caster in the games, but I was good, and I feel like a lot of my physicality has degraded to the point that that's no longer the case, and that bugs me. And it's easy to say, well, okay, this bugs me, but getting that translated into doing something is kind of hard to do. And I'm a work in progress like everybody else, so I'll try and figure it out. But that's something that's been bugging me lately, because the not going to the LARP, and it sounds like everybody had a lot of fun at the LARP. Not going to the LARP sort of reminded me of the things that have been bugging me about LARPing in general. My physicality being one of those things. So, but I'll work on it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do there, but I'll do something. Let's see. What else? I've also been thinking about podcasting. I recently started listening to, or re-listening to, the old Space Casey series by Christiana Ellis. It's a great series. I definitely recommend it to anybody. It's back from, 2007, something like that? I was living in North Carolina when it came out, I think. And she's coming out with a part 2. And that's going to be coming out in a couple of days, actually. Soon. And there was a discussion in one of the groups I deal with about doing a podcast. And some of the people involved, former podcasters, were saying that podcasting is dead. And I'm having a hard time buying that. I've been a podcaster myself. I entertain notions of doing it again, but I never get around to it because other projects get in my way. Or rather, I let myself allow other projects to get in the way. But I think one of the interesting things about that discussion of whether or not podcasting is dying out, I think it's not. I don't buy that, but I do buy that the audience has changed. I think that... So, the thing with podcasting is early on, because it was something that you could generate media, kind of like YouTube here, that you could throw out into the world relatively inexpensively, and without actually a whole lot of learning curve. A lot of people tried it. A lot of people tried it. And for a good number of years there, you had a lot of people producing podcasts that sounded like they were amateurs trying to produce podcasts. There were a few people who were producing them on a, this is radio show level. These were people who were professionals, broadcasting professionals. Those people are still around. They're still producing podcasts that get a lot of listens. They still have a certain level of success. People download NPR shows now as much as listen to them on the radio. The medium is still around and it's still popular. And in fact, in some ways, it's more popular because it's become more mainstreamed in some regards. What has gone away is people's willingness to just sort of tune into the guy who sounds like he's an amateur. Somebody who, and that sounds wrong. That's not really how I mean it to be. People want things that are high quality. They want people who sound like they're professionals. They want the bed music. They want the person who sounds like he should be on the radio. They want the guy who sounds like he's a professional in that field. Yes, there are shows that, people listen to them, even though they're amateurish. And I really need to find a better word there. People who don't sound like they are in the broadcasting, but are actually just podcasters. Like, Tom Merritt. Tom Merritt sounds like somebody who's been working in media and broadcasting for years because he has. And when you listen to him talking about something, he doesn't sound like he's just some guy rambling with his friends. And I think people will continue to listen to him because he sounds like, a professional, like he knows what he's doing, like he knows what he's talking about. And it sounds less like he's experimenting and trying to figure out how to do the thing and more like he knows what he's doing. And I think the tolerance for the people who are experimenting and sounding like they're trying to figure out what they're doing has reduced some. That podcasting has become a thing where it's the replacement for the radio. And in a lot of ways, that means that people are listening to it, looking for somebody who sounds like he should be on the radio. There are exceptions. I think the medium has some strength that radio can't actually provide. But, it's a discussion worth having, I think. And I know I've got a lot of podcasters who occasionally check in on me because I've done podcasting. I want to do it again, actually. I want to be a part of something. I miss actually doing the voice acting. I used to do some voice acting with Pendant Productions and Broken Sea and a couple other places. I miss doing that. And I want to do it again. And I think that it's something I will try and make time for. But I think that the discussion of where podcasting is and where it will go is an interesting discussion to have. And I'd be interested to hear what my friends think. If you're watching this and you have an idea about that, go ahead and let me know. But I'm coming up on 15 minutes, and I'm going to cut it at that point. You guys, thanks for checking this out. Subscribe, like, what have you. And I'll try and keep producing these more often. And that means that they'll be a little more streamlined like this, but I'm kind of enjoying the process. So we'll see how that works out. I'll talk to you guys later.